First, 4 people dead, 3 of them murdered by a man who would eventually turn the gun on himself. Tonight, police say the parents of a 3-year-old are among the victims, and that 3-year-old was in the house when the shooting happened.
We have team coverage from Oakland tonight, including reaction from the friends of the victims. We start with John Creasoth with more on exactly what we know about this right now. John.
And we have learned that all 3 of the victims are from the Waterville area. And just for some context, we are in Oakland, which is just west of Waterville. State police detectives were expecting to wrap up here on scene by sunset, but as you can see, they are still here. The State Police Major Crimes Unit van is still here on the scene. Police say the victims were shot and killed in that first-floor apartment of this home last night around 8. Police say the man who shot them then killed himself outside in the driveway.
I mean, it's devastating. It's something that you don't think of.
What Jason Thomas never thought would happen happened just next door. Thomas says he was sitting on his back deck on Belgrade Road last night when he heard his neighbor, 42-year-old Herman Dorico, yelling, then gunshots.
He had screamed something like, I told you don't know me, and then 2 more gunshots.
State police say Dorico killed his girlfriend, Amy Durosby, her sister, Amanda Bragg, and Bragg's boyfriend, Michael Muzerall. All 4 of them lived together in separate apartments in this home. State police say Durosby called 911 herself after she was shot.
I don't want to get into the specifics of the call, but I can tell you that this woman had been wounded, picked up the phone, called 911, and gave police very valuable information.
Thomas also called 911 and then the victims to check in after he heard the shots. He says one of the women answered the phone.
I'm like, hey, you guys okay? You guys okay? She said, no, I can't move. Please help me.
Muzerall and Bragg's 3-year-old daughter, Ariana, also lived here with them in that first-floor apartment. She was not hurt.
She was in the apartment at the time. What she saw, what she heard, I don't have any particulars on.
She played with my kids, throughout a summer. What is she going to do? She's 3 years old.
Police say the young girl is now with her grandmother, but there are many other questions they still can't answer.
What set this man off? And at this point, we do not have answers, but we're going to work very hard to get them.
And neighbors do say other than the traffic here on this road, this is a quiet town, a scenic town right here on Messalonsky Lake. And in fact, Oakland police say that these are the first homicides here since Colby College student Don Rosignol was murdered. You may remember that happened back in 2003. Reporting live in Oakland tonight, John Creasoth, CBS 13 News.
What a tragedy in Oakland. Thank you, John.
2 families are in disbelief tonight, and the community is trying to help that little girl who witnessed this extreme violence. CBS 13's Marissa Bodner is in Oakland as well, speaking with family and friends. Marissa, again, all around, what a tragedy.
Greg, Mike Muzerall's mom tells us she is shattered beyond belief. Her son and his girlfriend, Amanda Bragg, leave behind their 3-year-old daughter, Ariana. Tonight, a family friend is already raising money for her future.
It's just tragic and horrid.
Tawny Lively is a friend of the Bragg family. She says Amanda and Mike lived in this Belgrade Road home with Ariana.
They were a happy little family just starting off.
Neighbors say Mike was a handyman, able to fix anything. Amanda was particularly close to her sister Amy, who also lived at the home.
Yeah, they did pretty much everything together.
Police say Amy's boyfriend shot the 3 adults last night and then himself. Ariana was unharmed.
An officer took her out of the house, carrying her, and she was screaming, "I want my mommy." And that ripped my guts out.
Lively says the little girl is now with her grandparents.
She can tell you everything that happened.
Lively has started this GoFundMe page to make sure Ariana is able to get everything from psychological help to schooling down the road.
I want people to be there for the family and pray for the family and get that little girl through this all.
That GoFundMe page has raised about $750 today. If you'd like to donate, you can find a link on our website, WGME.com. For now, live in Oakland, Marissa Bodner, CBS 13 News. Back to you.
Thank you, Marissa. State police are still struggling to find a motive for the killings. CBS 13's Katie Sampson continues our team coverage live now with what we know about the man they say pulled the trigger.
Kim, state police say they don't have a lot of information or details about Herman Dorico or what led up to this shooting last night. Police say he lived on the second floor of the building with his girlfriend, Amy. We checked the state's criminal history database, and Dorico does not have a criminal record here in Maine. State police say a nationwide check has not been completed, so it's not clear right now if Dorico has a history in any other states. Neighbors told us Dorico moved to Maine less than a year ago. They knew him as Khalil and not Herman. One neighbor says she would see him outside walking his dog, but she says she always had a bad feeling about him.
He was a quiet person, but like weird at the same time. Like I would say hi to him and he would just totally ignore me like I wasn't even there. My gut is always right too. And I told my kid's father, I said, I don't know what's up with that man, but he's weird. I said, and I don't want my kids around him.
Investigators also say that police here in Oakland never had any interactions with the man, making it tough for them to figure out why he would do something like this. Live in Oakland tonight, Katie Sampson, CBS 13 News. Back to you.
All right, and we may never know. We'll see. Thank you, Katie.
Meantime, we are learning more about the man accused of murdering 3 people in Oakland before killing himself. Tonight, an ex-girlfriend says that Herman Dorico grew more and more paranoid over the years, eventually threatening her life, she says. She's talking with CBS 13's Marissa Bodner, who joins us now live from Freiburg. Marissa.
Well, Greg, Anna Frankowski tells me she came here to Freiburg and went to the local police department back in 2003 after Dorico threatened to kill her. That led to this temporary restraining order. Before she could get a hearing for a long-term order, Dorico moved back to California, where he's from. Frankowski says she hasn't had any contact with him since.
Yes, it completely caught me off guard. It was the scariest thing I've ever heard.
Anna Frankowski was horrified to hear the news. Her ex-boyfriend, Herman Dorico, also known as Khalil, accused of murdering his girlfriend and 2 others in Oakland before killing himself.
I don't think that this is just like a one-time thing where he just snapped this. I think this was building.
Frankowski says she dated Dorico for 5 years. She says his paranoid behavior gradually got worse.
Like in the beginning, like he would be like, oh, you know, take a spoonful of my food, like, oh, cutesy, new relation. And then towards the middle of the relationship, it was like, you need to eat that because you're poisoning me.
She says she saw signs of what she thought may be a mental illness.
There was something not right. Something was definitely not right with him.
Frankowski says Dorico did crack cocaine, tried to buy guns, and often got upset when she wouldn't answer her phone at work.
And finally, I was just like, I'm done. I can't do this anymore. And that's when he threatened to kill me.
That's when she went to police and got a temporary restraining order. She says Dorico was never physically violent, making his alleged crime all the more troubling.
And I know this sounds bad, but I'm thankful he's not here anymore. I really am. Yeah. Sorry, that's like, it was scary.
Dorico does not have a criminal history here in Maine. This protection order is not a charge, it's not a crime, so it wouldn't show up in any criminal history search. Frankowski tells me she did get 2 calls from state police today. She plans to tell them everything she knows.
Tonight, dozens of people gathered in support of a 3-year-old girl who survived last month's quadruple murder-suicide. Police say little Ariana's mother, father, and aunt were killed before the gunman killed himself. As Fox 23's Maria Valvanis reports, the Oakland community is rallying to give that toddler the future she deserves.
Friday marks 1 month since the tragedy on Belgrade Road, but tonight here at Messalonsky High School, it's all about giving back to the little girl who lost so much.
The laughter pouring out of 3-year-old Ariana is extra sweet to hear.
I saw the tragic event that happened at the beginning of this month.
This was the scene outside Ariana's home 4 weeks ago when police say her aunt's boyfriend killed her mother, her father, and her aunt before killing himself. Ariana was found inside the home unharmed, but family members say the 3-year-old saw and remembers everything.
I knew that I needed to do something, and there wasn't even a second thought we needed to be able to raise money to support this little girl.
Kristen Collier organized the spaghetti dinner. She never met Ariana or her family until tonight.
I can only hope that if something happened to my husband and I, that the community would rally around my daughter as well.
Ariana now lives with her aunt Narissa. She says the outpouring of support shines through the devastation.
I've had people that I don't even know call me or send packages to my home for Ariana and her family.
Tonight, guests bid on donated items in a silent auction, while others kept Ariana smiling.
She likes peekaboo, she likes to race. She's just having the best time, which I'm glad to see.
The perfect way to fill the 3-year-old with happier memories.
All the money raised tonight will go into a trust set up for Ariana's future. There's also a GoFundMe page linked to the same trust. So if you'd like to make a donation, you can head on over to our website, WGME.com, where we'll have a link for you.
New details in a murder-suicide that left 4 people dead in Oakland last November. The CBS 13 I-Team has obtained transcripts of more than a dozen 911 calls. I-Team reporter Marissa Bodner has been digging through those documents. And Marissa, they really paint a horrifying picture of that night.
They certainly do, Kim. We now know 15 calls were made over about an hour. 6 of them came from one or more of the victims. These transcripts are heavily redacted. No names or addresses are given. But state police have said Amy DeRosby, the girlfriend of the shooter, called 911 and provided valuable information before she died. The crime unfolded at this house on Belgrade Road, where Amy DeRosby and her boyfriend, Herman DeRico, lived in an upstairs apartment. DeRosby's sister, Amanda Bragg, lived downstairs with her boyfriend, Mike Muzzerall, and their daughter, Ariana. The first sign of trouble on the night of November 4th came at 8:04, when someone called 911 saying shots have been fired. At 8:05, 2 calls came in reporting DeRico shot at his girlfriend. Another says, I heard a couple thumps like they were fighting, and then all of a sudden, 2 shots. By 8:08, one of the female victims dials 911 and says they need an ambulance. She refers to a man with a gun, and according to the transcripts, she was breathing heavily. A minute later, she calls back asking for help. Asked if the shooter is still there, she says, he's outside somewhere. He supposedly shot himself. I don't know if he really did. They need to come now. I have a baby here too. In the next call, the victim is asked to identify the shooter. She answers, but the name is redacted. She goes on to say, I'm the only one alive. In her last call at 8:21, dispatchers hear a child in the background. According to the transcripts, the woman is in the kitchen, moaning for help. Minutes later, a neighbor calls and says he just talked to the victim, who says she needs help. She can't move. When police arrived, they found DeRico dead in the driveway. They went in to get 3-year-old Ariana, and that's where they found DeRosby, Bragg, and Muzzerall, all 3 shot and killed. DeRosby's death is being called a domestic homicide. State police have not been able to determine a motive in this case, but say DeRico was a troubled man with mental health issues and a history of drug abuse. He was treated at 4 hospitals last year, and at the time of the murders had amphetamines, methamphetamine, marijuana, alcohol, and traces of cocaine in his system.